Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you could put it in the comments, that would be great. Um, if you're watching on Facebook, thank you for joining us. I don't think it's live on Facebook yet. Now we are live on Facebook. So, how's everybody doing today? It's a cold, rainy day here in Ohio. If you come in the chat, please let me know where you're watching from. If this is the first time being on one of your lives, let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to share this to a few people, tag a few people, and we'll get started. You like my little fireplace here? It's keeping me warm. uh, yeah, just let me tag a few people here, and we'll get started. If you've never been on one of my lives before, hello, my name is Jeff. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone, tagging people in the comments here. So bear with me just a second. If you're on YouTube watching, please let us know in the comments. And try to get people in here that's been asking me questions about Feel Great system and see if any of my cohorts would like to join us. All right, so let's get started. Um, again, my name is Jeff Lanham. I'm in Ohio. I'm an oil field worker, and I am a type 2 diabetic. I was type, I suffered with type 2 diabetes for 20 years, and I found a way to reverse it, get off medications, and now I share how I did it with people all over the world. I've helped over 450 people find this protocol that I use, and they're having amazing results. And I'm going to show that to you today as well. So, I don't know what that little bit of feedback was there. Um, I've got this new fancy podcast setup or whatever that you can use for live. Sometimes, you have issues with technology, but it's not a high dollar, high end setup. So it is what it is. But one of the biggest problems in the world today is something called insulin resistance. If you see this picture behind my head, I got this screen mirrored, so it's hard for me. I want to point there, but it's actually there. We're going to be talking about all those symptoms. I'm going to put some stuff up on the screen so you guys can see it, kind of a little presentation. The biggest problem is 93% of adults are metabolically broken or suffering with insulin resistance, and most doctors aren't even talking about it. So I'm going to see if I can pull this presentation up, and we'll just kind of get started with it. So let's see here. How do I want to set this up? I want to put this over here. All right, there we go. So as you can see here, in 2022, I was really struggling with my health. I was full blown type 2 diabetic on metformin, Januvia, and was prescribed Trulicity. I had an A1C of 9.4. I was 312 pounds, and I was struggling severely with neuropathy pain. Anybody out there who has neuropathy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. One day it's just tingling and numb, and the next day they're on fire and hurting like crazy. Feel like you got a rock in your shoe, or walking barefoot on broken glass or Legos. It's excruciating. So then I also had high blood pressure, and at one stage my blood pressure was 165, 170 over 95 to 100. So I was on lisinopril for that, and years of metformin and years of lisinopril for high blood pressure put me in stage 1 kidney failure, and I was urinating all the time, waking up through the night, never getting a restful night's sleep because I was constantly waking up, having to go to the bathroom. I suffered with low testosterone, and I was just miserable. So I'll show you a current picture of me um, at the end of this, but just remember this guy here was miserable and he was struggling severely. So the problem is, like I said, 93% of us are metabolically broken, and your body starts giving you signs that you have insulin resistance before it'll ever show up in a blood test. If you're dealing with skin tags, or maybe you have dark skin pigmentation, if you have the inability to lose weight, if you have constant craving, if you have migraines or joint pain, chronic inflammation, tired all the time, maybe you have uh, PCOS or upper abdominal belly fat. These are all signs. Your body is like waving the red flag, going, something's wrong and we need to fix it. And I mean, just simple things like always being hungry, even after you've had a big meal. How many people deal with that? You can't lose weight no matter what you do, or you may lose 10, 15 pounds and you gain it all back and then some. It's it's a never ending cycle, and when you're insulin resistant, you probably end up with non-alcoholic fatty liver, and it packs on this visceral fat. And even someone who looks relatively thin can be struggling with this. And that fat, it twists in all around our organs and constricts blood flow and oxygen and all these things. And that's the fat that's actually going to kill us. It's not the fat that doesn't look good in the mirror or that you pinch or jiggle. It's this visceral fat that's buried deep inside of us. And if you get your insulin levels in check, that is the first fat that starts to go away. Now, I call this like the wheel of torture, right? So if you're suffering with those problems, the skin tags, the dark skin pigmentation, the high blood pressure, the cravings, the frequent urination, all these things, it can take, like I said, 10 years to develop as type 2 diabetes or PCOS or erectile dysfunction. And if you're struggling with any of these problems, I'm trying to point, and it doesn't work when I got a split screen. But if you're struggling with any of these problems, you understand what I'm talking about because you're on medication. You're constantly going to the doctor, maybe getting your prescription raised or getting put on a different dose or a different type of medication. That's what happened to me. About 7 years on metformin, they told me, listen, we got to take you off this because it's damaging your kidneys. We're going to put you on Januvia. How many people have heard of Januvia? Put it in the comments. Hey, Arlie, how are you? Um, they put me on Januvia, which was less harmful to my kidneys, but it was a weaker medication. So they immediately put me on 2,000 milligrams, which is the max dosage. And I was on that for several years, and I would have a little bit of success. Blood sugar would come down, and then it would go right back to where it was. I could never keep weight off. It was just a roller coaster all the time. And finally, I went back to the doctor for a checkup, and my A1C was almost to 8. And she said, "Hey, we got to put you back on metformin too. We're going to put you on both of these medications. So max dosage of metformin, max dosage of Januvia." And this time, I was starting to have the neuropathy pain, so they put me on gabapentin, and things got better for a while, like they always do, right? You up the dosage, you see some improvement. And if anybody has been in that boat, just put me in the comments. Let me know because it's a really horrible feeling when you feel you're hopeless. You feel like nothing's going to work. These problems are just going to get worse and worse and worse. And that was the boat I was in. And I went back to the doctor in 2022 because I was feeling miserable. My feet hurt so bad. Like, I was starting to worry, am I gonna have to have toes amputated or maybe a foot, or could it be worse? Could it be a leg eventually? I was starting to get blurry vision. I had always had great eyesight, and I was at my heaviest weight of 312 pounds, which I showed you in that picture. Um, they took my A1C, and my A1C on max dosage of metformin and Januvia was 9.4, and that was the day she prescribed Trulicity. And she said, "We're going to put you on. You're going to stay on metformin and Januvia. We're also going to put you on Trulicity, one injection a week. And if this doesn't work, you're going to have to go on insulin, probably for the rest of your life." And I left that doctor's appointment, and I didn't even go to the pharmacy. I was like, "I'm not doing this. Right? I'm not taking another injection." I was already at this point getting injections in my feet for neuropathy. I was taking testosterone replacement injections, and I was feeling miserable. And I was scrolling around on TikTok one night, and I started seeing these people talking about they reversed high blood pressure, they lost a bunch of weight, they reversed type 2 diabetes. And then I seen a guy saying he reversed his neuropathy pain by 80% in like 30 days and 95% in 90 days. And I was like, wait a minute. I've always been told you can't reverse neuropathy pain. This is something you're going to have to manage for the rest of your life, just like type 2 diabetes, just like high cholesterol, just like your blood pressure. Like we're told as we get older, these are chronic and progressive diseases. You're just going to have to manage. Has anybody been in that boat? How many people listening that says we got 13, 14 people in here are you're at a point where you're taking all these meds and you just feel hopeless, like nothing's ever going to work. Every time you go back to the doctor, you're getting put on new medication. Your dosages are getting raised. Maybe they are telling you, listen, you have to eat less, exercise more, blah, 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 blah. And they never talk to you about insulin at all because that was me. So let me know in the comments because those are the people I want to talk to. The people that are struggling and really don't know what they're going to do. The people that have the chronic inflammation and the joint pain. Every morning you wake up and you just hurt. You don't want to get out of bed. You want to just curl back up in a ball and stay there all day. Maybe your family has a history of heart disease. People of in your family die of heart attacks and strokes and all these things. Maybe you're a young lady who's trying to start a family and you can't. You're struggling with PCOS and the meds they're giving you and the instructions they're giving you aren't working, right? You have to focus on the root cause core problem of insulin resistance. When I learned this, and when I started following this system, my life radically changed. I dropped 25 pounds the first month. My doctor took me off my blood pressure medicine because she was afraid it was going to drop too low. Um, my A1C in 90 days went from 9.4 to 5.6, or 90 days it went from 9.4 to 6, which is pre-diabetic. And today it's 5.2, and I'm ecstatic. I've been off of all medication for 2 years now. So, as I was saying, 93% of American adults struggle with these problems: the belly fat, the skin tags, the inflammation, the high cholesterol, sleep apnea, high blood sugar, constant craving. They're going to turn into these more serious problems if you don't do something about it. Now, think of insulin resistance as like the roots to a tree, and all those symptoms that I was showing you is like the leaves. If you kill the roots of a tree, the tree dies, right? The leaves all fall, they wilt and they fall off. Just like these symptoms, if you kill the root cause, core problem, insulin resistance, get your insulin levels from here back down to here where you're insulin sensitive and the cells respond, these symptoms will start to go away. 86 million American adults, 1 in 3 are pre diabetic. 9 out of 10 don't even know it. Here's the problem: we all eat too much, too often of the wrong kind of food, and then we never do anything to mitigate the blood sugar spike. We wake up in the morning, maybe we have a bowl of cereal, cup of coffee loaded with cream and sugar. What happens? The blue line, glucose, shoots up. Your pancreas releases insulin to stop that blood sugar spike. The blood sugar crashes back down, but the insulin takes 4 to 5 hours to come back down to normal range. When that blood sugar crashes, what happens? You feel hungry, you feel tired, so you eat again. you snack. It could even be a protein bar or an energy bar or some nuts or whatever. But most of the time, for most people, it's something that's not good for us. It's a soda. It's a Snickers bar. It's some kind of chips or another bagel or whatever it may be. Blood sugar goes back up, and the insulin never got a chance to come down. And then it crashes again, and it's time for lunch. And then about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it crashes again, and you have another snack. And then you get home from work, you have a shower, you eat dinner, and it goes back up again. And maybe you're sitting around watching the TV 8:39 at night, and you're snacking on popcorn or a bowl of ice cream or some Doritos, something like that. This is the problem. We're eating too often. We are grazing all day long. We're never giving our insulin and our blood sugar a chance to come back down. Now, when I learned this, I started doing intermittent fasting, right? But I couldn't sustain it. It was tough for me. I could do it for a few weeks and then I would fall off the wagon. Here's the problem. If you're insulin resistant, you can never burn fat for fuel. You're always burning carbs and sugar for energy. Insulin is like the key that unlocks the cells to let the glucose in from the food we eat. It goes to our muscles to be used as energy. It goes to our liver. It goes to our fat cells to be stored as energy for later. Because listen, back when our ancestors, they didn't have food all the time, right? It was times of feast and famine. They may go days without food because they had to grow their food, they had to hunt their food. They didn't eat all the time, right? So our bodies are designed that way purposely. But if that cell, that receptor on that cell isn't opening to allow insulin to unlock it and let the glucose in, that's when it stays in your bloodstream. That's when you become pre-diabetic and type 2 diabetic. Insulin is probably the most important hormone in your body, and most people don't understand it. I didn't understand it for years and years. I'm 54 years old. I didn't know these things until 52 years old, right? I was struggling like everybody else. So you have to give your cells the opportunity to not be your digestive system not to be digesting food, your pancreas not to be secreting so much insulin, so your cells then become responsive to it again. Now, here's what's happening. You see, all these food companies, they control the majority of the food, right? Especially the things that are bagged, boxed, and barcoded. And what they do is they remove the fiber. Every carbohydrate in nature comes packaged in fiber. But all these highly processed foods, they remove the fiber to give it a longer shelf life, to make it less satiating. Their job is to sell you more and more of it, right? To give it a longer shelf life. So they strip the fiber from this food. As I was saying, every carb in nature comes packaged in fiber. Rice, we remove the bran and we just eat the endosperm, right? We eat it, we turn it to white rice, and that's what we eat. White rice is very high on the glycemic index, will spike your blood sugar through the roof. Just like bread, wheat is packaged in fiber. We remove the bran, which is the fiber, and then we have white bread. Again, very high on the glycemic index, horrible for blood sugar and type 2 diabetes. Here are some things that I want you to understand. Now, I'm going to blow this up a little bigger so I can make sure everybody can see this. If you go to the CDC website, now I know there's a lot of discrepancies with CDC, especially after the COVID era, right? But if you go to their website, they're going to tell you the benefits of fiber. If you have diabetes or prediabetes, fiber is your friend because it helps with blood sugar control and weight management. It can also lower the risk of heart disease. Key point there, heart disease, the number one cause of people unaliving today. Okay. So if you have diabetes, fiber helps control your blood sugar because your body is unable to absorb and break down fiber. It doesn't cause a spike in your blood sugar. It's the only carbohydrate in nature that does not spike your blood sugar. And this can help with your blood sugar control and keep it in target range. If you suffer with heart disease or stroke, if that runs in your family, fiber prevents your body from taking in some fat and cholesterol. Okay, so triglycerides and cholesterol. Lowering your triglycerides and cholesterol levels to help reduce your risk of heart disease. And do you know, doctor's not going to tell you this because statins are the number one prescribed medication in the world. But do you know that triglycerides are a bigger predictor of heart disease and heart attack than cholesterol? What about your digestive tract? How many people struggle with IBS, bloating, constipation, diarrhea? Causes mental health problems like anxiety and depression. Michelle suffered with this real bad. She would never even want to leave the house because the anxiety of wondering when we were going to be to a bathroom and if the bathroom was clean and those sorts of things, it can weigh on you, right? But even mental health problems like depression, anxiety, ADHD, the brain fog, the forgetting where you left your keys or your glasses, uh, leading to dementia and Alzheimer's. It's all tied to our gut health. Our gut and our brain are connected. Okay. So fiber acts like a scrub brush, cleaning out your digestive tract. It helps clean out bacteria and other buildup to improve gut health and help reduce the risk of colon cancer. And then if you're struggling with your weight, you're somebody who yo-yo diets, you're on this weight roller coaster. Since fiber can't be digested, it moves slowly through your stomach, keeping you fuller for longer. And many foods high in fiber tend to be low in calories, which can help with weight loss. It fills you up and it keeps you fuller for longer. Now, the solution that I've used over the last 2.5 years is called the Feel Great system. Now, this protocol has 5 patents on it. It's clinically studied at major hospitals and universities around the world. Rexall Pharmacy designed this protocol back in the late 80s, but the Cleveland Clinic did a study on it. The Sydney Institute in Australia, Brigham Young, UNLV, Stanford. It's been through the clinical trials. It's safe and natural. There are no drugs in it. It's 100% natural. It's guaranteed to work or your money back. It's cost neutral. I'll explain that in a minute. And it's available in over 50 countries around the world. So if you're struggling with any of these problems, you're not wanting to buy stuff, here's the key. Start doing intermittent fasting. Only eat 2 meals a day. Eat your food in the right order, meaning fiber, protein, healthy fats. Put your carbs at the end of your meal. Then do some exercise immediately after a meal. Go for a 10-15 minute walk. Do some body weight squats. Something to get your muscles moving to burn up that glucose from our food. So the protocol, like I said, 20 clinical trials, it's listed in the physician's desk reference. Now, this is a book that used to sit on every doctor's desk. You can go to that website. It's called the PDR.net. Okay. If you go to that website, you can type in any medication you're on, and it will tell you the side effects, the contraindication, um, what the black box warnings are, all these things, right? These two products, Unimate and Balance, are listed in that book as nutraceuticals. And to be listed in there, they have to have the clinical data to prove that they work as good as or better than medication. It's HSA and FSA qualified, meaning if you have a health savings account or a flexible spending account through your employer or through your insurance, you can use it to buy these products. As I said, they're patented and guaranteed. It costs you about $5.33 a day. Now, this is where I was telling you it becomes cost neutral. The Unimate, we drink it while we're skipping breakfast. Okay, so when I was talking about intermittent fasting, most people skip breakfast. That seems to be the easiest meal to skip. It comes in a little stick packet like this. You mix it in 16 to 32 ounces of water. What this does is it helps curb your cravings and satiate you. It helps increase ketone production, which is fat burning. It helps with GLP-1 production. Did you know that your body makes the hormone GLP-1, the thing that everybody's getting injections for today? You don't have to go get an injection for this. What you need to do is reverse your insulin resistance, and then your body will produce more of it naturally without the risk of gastroparesis, thyroid cancer, and blindness, and all these things. Okay. So we sip Unimate throughout the morning. It replaces our breakfast. That's one way it becomes cost neutral because these three packets cost $5.33 a day in the US. I don't know too many places you can get breakfast for $5. Okay. And then the other product is a blend of plant fiber. I just put out a video earlier today. The difference between like a single source fiber, let's say Metamucil or Benefiber, and our fiber is our fiber has 7 different types of both soluble and insoluble. So if you look at this top picture on the right, this is someone going through day to day life like we were talking about, right? They get up, they eat, the blood sugar spikes, which is the green line, okay? And then your insulin, which is the red line, has to go up to stop it. The blood sugar crashes, you eat again. The insulin never has a chance to come down. And you do that over and over. You're constantly in fat storing mode because when insulin is high, you cannot burn belly fat. But if insulin is low, the fat will go. You're also doing damage to your body at a cellular level this way. Using these two products, you can see that the blood sugar and the insulin spike is a lot lower and a lot more evened out. Okay. So it doesn't spike as high. Therefore, you don't have that sudden crash and feel hungry and tired. So what we do is we wake up in the morning, we sip Unimate. We have our lunch, break fast, anywhere from 11 to 1 o'clock, most people. We mix a second Unimate and we sip it through the afternoon. That's what's going to stop that afternoon crash and making you have craving. It's going to keep you satiated. It's going to give you energy. It's going to improve your cognitive brain function. It's going to regulate your blood pressure. It's going to do all these things for you. I call Unimate liquid gold or willpower in a packet. This, if I never did anything else again for my health, I would be drinking this every day. But I will never be without these products because the way it's changed my life. Okay. So here's the study from the Cleveland Clinic, the #1 heart hospital in the world. And as I said before, statins are still the #1 prescribed medication. But the Cleveland Clinic published this study in the medical journal Metabolism, but no one ever heard about it. They were talking about this fiber supplement, Balance. Okay. It's such a product is taken regularly, it could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis. But here's the reason why I think it was swept under the rug and nobody heard. It could potentially decrease the need or dose for lipid lowering prescription drugs, which are statins. So you can draw your own conclusion. It was also studied at the Sydney Institute in Australia, and they proved that you could reduce your blood sugar spike after a meal up to 23% by taking this. But recent studies, we've had more studies done on this product. Benjamin Bickman proved that if you drink this before a meal, it could lower your postprandial blood sugar by up to 42%. So metformin only does 20 to 25. Okay. So this is the study with 2 Eggo waffles, 2 teaspoons of syrup, and a 10-ounce glass of orange juice. Now, this was done with a continuous glucose monitor. Okay. This was without Balance up here. Okay. And you see this dip, this blood sugar crash, which is going to make you want to eat again. This down here, the same breakfast taken with Balance, you see the difference. Okay. And then here's Benjamin Bickman's study, 43% reduction in blood glucose level. Now, here are some people that have got on this protocol that I've known now for a year or so that have totally changed and transformed their health. This is Luann. She was a breast cancer survivor. And after you go through chemo and all those things, like your immune system is just destroyed. You can never It's hard to lose weight. You just have all kinds of issues. She is now down like 45 pounds. I think she is only like 4 points away from her uh, recommended BMI. She, I don't know how many inches she's lost, but it's a bunch. Now, this next guy, Ralph, Luann found this protocol through Ralph. Ralph found me on TikTok. He was suffering with a huge insulin resistance belly, right? I always kid him about being 9 months pregnant in this picture. But he had hormone neuropathy, uh, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, IBS, all kinds of problems. He's down over 50 pounds now, hikes 3 to 5 miles a day. This is someone who had neuropathy so bad he didn't want to even leave his house. Blood pressure is normal, IBS is gone. Now, you remember my picture from the beginning. This is me now. Down 74 pounds off of 8 different medications. And I'm showing you these because I don't want you to think it's just me, right? So many people. This is Michelle. She was suffering with IBS, hormonal problems. She's been through menopause a couple of times, and I say that because she had a hysterectomy, went through early menopause, got put on hormone replacement, then couldn't afford it anymore, stopped taking it. Kind of all the problems came back, the mood swings, the night sweats, the hot flashes, the just all the problems. And you can see here she was just puffy and swollen all the time. Not a big person, but just puffy and swollen. No energy, would suck down 3 to 4 sun kissed a day. Um, she was a sugar addict. That's how her body functioned. Now she's lost all the puffiness, no more IBS, no more high blood pressure. Eli, amazing transformation. I can't even remember how much weight he's lost now, but just totally transformed his life. Now, this is Jared. He's down over 84 pounds, 85 pounds now. Um, totally transformed his look. He looks way younger here than here. And this is his dad. But so his dad found this protocol through me, told his son about it. And look, they both look like just totally different people, right? Even Chet looks way younger. And he's down 80 pounds. This is Chrissy, another person who found me on social media. Uh, and she was suffering with fatty liver, diabetes, neuropathy, uh, was overweight, had eczema, or not eczema, but psoriasis over her whole body, and has been able to reverse everything. Now she hikes every day as well. Someone with neuropathy who's hiking every day. And this is a good friend of mine, JoJo. So I had known him for years, 20 plus years. And when we both got out of the pro wrestling business, JoJo really packed on the weight. He has a desk job where he sits behind a desk 12 hours a day, and he got up to 407 pounds. He was depressed. He was taking handfuls of over the counter medication and didn't really, he told me multiple times, he's like, there were days I just didn't even know if I was going to wake up or if I even wanted to, right? He would leave work every day, run through and grab a 12-pack of beer, order pizza, and sit around all evening just eating and drinking himself to death. He lost 162 pounds in 1 year. Totally changed his life. Now he feels like he has a life again. He's involved in his kid's life. He's able to do things like rollerblading and trampoline park and going on hikes with them. I mean, it's totally just transformed his life. So what I want you to understand is if you feel that you're in a place where you have no hope, that nothing ever works for you, you need to try one more thing. You need to try the Feel Great. Now, if you want to try it, you can. I'm going to put something on the screen that you can. So you can scan this QR code. It'll take you directly to the manufacturer's website. That gets you my discount. You will pay the same price I pay. Okay. Now, if you don't want to scan that QR code, you can send me a message. But these two products are transforming so many people's lives. and they're just something you're going to be drinking something anyway. Why not drink something healthy for you that can give you the results like all these people have had? If you decide to give this a try, you're going to get my personal phone number, my personal email address. You will get instructions from me on how to use this. I will check in with you regularly to see if you're having any issues, if you want to change flavors or whatever. But I'm also going to send you a link to download a fasting app. Okay, so if you have an iPhone, it'll open up the Apple Store where you can get a free fasting app, or if you're on an Android phone, it takes you to the Play Store. You can download this app, and if you're 50% compliant, and let me see if I can pull that up real quick. I want to show it. So this is what the app looks like. Okay, so it'll track how much fasting you've done for the day, but you can also put in there every time you drink your mate, when your first meal was. You can even put in here what you ate for your meal. You can put in here if you took your balance. And if you're 50% compliant with using this app and you don't feel like this worked for you, you can get all your money back. No questions asked. And the app is free. So we can get you added into a Facebook group of with thousands of people who are doing this, who are trying to get the results like you want. And really this is a game changer. It's it's cost neutral if you follow it the way it's designed. Now, if you're going to continue eating all the garbage that you've been eating and eating 4, 5, 6 times a day, then yeah, it's probably not going to be uh, a lot of cost savings for you. But if you follow it the way it's designed, you're going to get the results. People are going to be asking you what you're doing, and you're going to be saving money. I used to spend $10 to $12 every morning for breakfast. I don't do that anymore. I used to drink 3 to 4 Pepsis a day. I don't do that anymore. I used to stop and get fast food at least once a day. I was on 8 medications. I'm not on those. All those things are just putting money back in my bank account. I buy this protocol every month and it saves me money like crazy. So if you want to try this, you can go to my Facebook page. And if you go to my Facebook page, I'm just going to pull it up real quick and show you. If you go to my Facebook page, and I don't know how well it's going to show up because of the light in here, but right here under these pictures, there's a link. If you click that link, it takes you right to the manufacturer's website. If you screenshot this right now and you save that QR code, you can scan it and go to the website. You can see all the clinical studies. You can read all about this protocol, or you can go to Instant Messenger and send me a message. Say, hey, I would like a one-on-one conversation with you. I would like to learn more about this. I want to see if it's right for me. You can do that as well. So before we hop off here, does anybody have any questions? I would be happy to answer any questions anyone may have. Understand this is not really a diet. You're just only eating 2 meals a day and you're cutting out the snacking between meals. When you do that, your insulin and your blood sugar has a chance to come back to normal range. So if nobody has any questions, I appreciate y'all spending a little bit of your Friday with me. Um, like I said, you can always message me. You can send me a message on Instant Messenger. You can send me a friend request. Give me a follow. I have tons of videos on my page. I'm just trying to help people understand that there are natural options out there if you're ready to get off medication. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, only you can change it. Only you can take control of your health. Because if you're going to rely on the medical industry, they're in the job of making money. They're just going to keep prescribing meds. Hey, Jessica, how are you? Yeah, I was just sitting here. It's raining and cold, and I thought I'm going to hop on live. So, All right. If nobody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Go watch some of my videos. I explain a lot of different things in detail in my videos. So, all right, folks, have a great day. We'll talk soon.